Welcome back to the At Risk podcast. I'm your host, Maxilia, and I know it's been almost eons since you last saw me. It feels like forever ago. Really sorry about the lag in content. I recently moved and I'm starting grad school soon. So lots of crazy things have been going on, but really excited to give you this episode requested by you guys through Instagram. If you're not following the podcast on Instagram, you should do so at the Risk Podcast _ on Instagram, or you could follow my Instagram, which is love _ Maxi, Maxi. But anyway, today's episode is something that I've been meaning to film for quite some time. We're gonna highlight a phenomenon that I think has been around for centuries, kind of like the belief system that like every generation has it worse. Like every generation feels like they're living through the end of times because currently America feels like we're living in the end of times. But anyway, today's episode is about things have to get worse before they get better. Now, what the heck does that even mean? What it means essentially is we should not lose hope just because things are starting to look dystopian and authoritarian. We have lived through worse. Our ancestors have lived through worse. We are resilient people. We are dynamic people. We are intelligent people. Nothing will leave us in the dirt or keep us undermined and under the oppressor's thumb than us losing hope and faith and never thinking that things will get better. Because things will get better and things have gotten better. So during today's episode, we're going to highlight some of the craziest things that have been happening over the past couple of months. And then we're going to be highlighting some of the really amazing and happy things that have been going on because I don't think the news is taking time to celebrate the many wins that we have had as a group of people. From mass arrests to deportations to the criminalization of free speech, we're living in the tightening grip of authoritarianism. But even in the worst of it, there are glimmers of resistance, of justice pushing through the cracks. So let's get into it. Let's first highlight some of the terrible things that have been happening so far. Criminalizing pro-Palestinian voices has been something that we have been seeing ramp up over the past couple of months. Even under the Biden administration, we saw how pro-Palestinian protesters were being treated by both administrations, both the Biden and Trump administration. We've seen young students get bulldozed by the NYPD, get kicked out of school, get expelled, have degrees revoked, simply for protesting a genocide, which is your right. It's free speech. You know what I mean? It's quite literally free speech. The wave of repression that pro-Palestinian voices have been facing in this country is despicable. I mean, people are getting pulled from the streets and getting thrown into ICE vans because of op-eds that they wrote. We'll get right into it. Activists are being mass incarcerated, not for violence, not for breaking laws, but for protesting genocide. Take Mahmoud Khalil, a Columbia University graduate student and legal permanent resident, meaning he's a green card holder, who was detained by ICE agents without a warrant at his campus housing. Many people believe that his campus institution must have shared that information out. Now, I don't know if that's true, but I will say I was hoping that Columbia would put in more of a fight and try to save their own student more, but seeing as though that they capitulated to Trump, which means they bent the knee to Trump, I don't think we'll be seeing anything positive coming out of that school anytime soon. No offense to the students or the professors. Everyone there is great and brilliant and doing phenomenal work. But to see such a prestigious institution not give a crap and bend down to Trump, and then to see so many of their students getting arrested by ICE, getting detained, yeah, that's scary. Because Mahmoud Khalil is also married to a US citizen, and she was pregnant at the time that he was like arrested. And what's even scarier is that she's like since given birth or in the process of giving birth, and he wasn't allowed to go to see his child being born. And a judge has ruled that he should be deported for his pro Palestinian speech, despite having been a green card holder and having the right to free speech. Another Columbia student that got targeted is Mohsen Madawi, another Columbia student who was arrested during his citizenship appointment. He thought he was finalizing his naturalization process, but instead ICE came in to detain him. Can you imagine? You're there, you're like, wow, I'm finally gonna be a US citizen. I'm finally gonna be able to vote and can do jury duty and contribute to this country as an active member of society. And then while you're getting ready to answer questions about your naturalization process, ICE comes in and detains you. Not because you're a drug dealer, not because you're a terrorist, not because you're some underground member of the KKK. No, it's because you don't think that children in the Middle East should get bombed to oblivion. Is that not crazy? What are we talking about? No matter who you think started what, there needs to come to a point where we acknowledge that children should not be dying, that women should not be dying, that children should not be getting starved. Aid has not entered through Palestine for over 2.5 months, which means they are subsequently being starved. We need to talk about this stuff. And you're telling me that these people took the initiative, were brave in the beginning to speak about this, to support the movement of pro-Palestinian people, to support their human rights. And instead of us acknowledging that we as a country should do more instead of funding wars, we're criminalizing free speech. And if you're not an American citizen, then we're detaining you and threatening to take away your green card. We're threatening to kidnap you in the middle of your naturalization interview. It's really scary stuff. We are quite literally watching this country criminalize resistance and protest. It's happening fast. Something else that has been just mind-boggling when we talk about the pro-Palestinian movement is genuinely the attack on free speech. Like, I know that the alt-right likes to say that there's an attack on free speech. They're right, except the attack is on us. And I don't just mean Democrats. I've become disillusioned with the two-party system, frankly. Like, I'm over it, but I feel like all of us can have a little bit of compassion and understand that like people should not get arrested for sharing their opinions on whether or not we should participate in a war. It's giving the civil rights movement. It's giving the Vietnam War when hippies and members of the Black Panther Party were actively protesting against the Vietnam War. That's what it feels like. It feels like a litmus test, which is, those tests that kind of help you figure out where someone aligns. Like, Palestine has become a litmus test. And it's scary because at Tufts University, a Turkish Fulbright scholar and PhD student named Rumisia Ozturk wrote an op-ed advocating for Palestinian human rights, which is her right. For that, she was detained by ICE during the holy month of Ramadan for over 6 weeks. Her detention quite literally sent chills through the spines of millions and millions of non-citizens throughout America. She did nothing wrong. She was just walking to meet up with some friends to go break her fast. And she happened to write an op-ed for her school where she talked about Palestine, which is her right. And it led to her being arrested. And it's like, yo, you're telling me this isn't fascism? Let's be real. Academic freedom does not exist for everyone. Not when being Arab, Muslim, Black, or aligned with liberation movements automatically puts you under suspicion. It's sus, it's weird, it's inhumane, it's deplorable. Stop arresting these young people and targeting people that don't have papers, that aren't US citizens. So it means that those of us that are citizens have to use our privilege to talk more about what's happening in the Middle East. We have to use our privilege and speak out more about what's happening in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and talk about what's happening in Myanmar, and talk about what's happening in Taiwan and Hong Kong, and like what's happening in the Philippines. Like, it's important for us to care about these movements. It's important for us to care about these other countries, and we need to use our privilege and our ability to speak out without the consequences of being deported to ensure that we are keeping other people safe, that we are keeping marginalized people safe. Everything that I just described, getting pulled off the street for writing an article, for writing an op-ed, for sharing your opinion, for making a YouTube video, for making a podcast, for retweeting something, for making a TikTok, all of this, getting arrested for something like that, that's textbook fascism. And if you don't believe me, pick up Jason Stanley's How Fascism Works. He writes, fascist politics seeks to undermine public discourse by attacking and devaluing education. Hence why the Trump administration has gone after Columbia University, Cornell University, Harvard University, Northwestern University, so many top prestigious institutions across the nation. It is not a surprise that they've gone after cancer research, the NIH, the CDC. Not only does he say they go after education, but they go after expertise and language. It's not a coincidence that they're picking a Fulbright scholar to make an example out of. Some other crazy stuff that's been going on. Newark is under surveillance. What does that even mean? This really hits home as a Newark resident, because I'm like, what in the actual hell is going on? In Newark, Mayor Ross Baraka, yes, the mayor of the largest city in the state of New Jersey, was arrested while visiting Delaney Hall. Delaney Hall is now an ICE facility with a notorious reputation. And if you have Mayor Ross Baraka tell it, he was doing what any leader should be doing, which is checking in on a facility that people have been complaining about for years. He basically, along with 3 other members of Congress, Congresswoman Bonnie Watson Coleman, Congresswoman LaMonica McGyver, and Congressman Rob Menendez, all attended the Delaney Hall. They had a press conference where they talked about how they were going to go inside and inspect the conditions.
You are here on private property. Don't touch us. Don't touch us.
It's on the coat. It's on the coat. Calm down.
Fun fact, if you are a member of Congress, you can pull up to any like federal agency, is my understanding, without any notice and check it out. So because it's technically like a department, like ICE facility, the congresswoman and congressman are allowed to check the facility without needing a warrant, without needing paperwork, without needing prior approval. They can just do that. But despite the fact that Mayor Ross Baraka is quite literally the mayor of Newark, they said that he had no authority. Mayor Baraka is saying that they don't even have the right permits to have Delaney Hall, but that's neither here nor there. What ultimately happens is Mayor Ross Baraka was asked to leave, which in the video it looks like he did leave. And then Mayor Baraka, as he steps over to the side and is waiting, ICE comes out and arrests him. And people start freaking out, rightfully so, because they're like, are they actually gonna arrest the mayor? of Newark. Needless to say, it got real crazy real fast. And then someone pushed Bonnie Watson Coleman to the floor. People are saying it's police. Mind you, during a peaceful, what should have been a peaceful protest. This is abuse. Like, you cannot just go around pushing elected officials. You can't just do that. Not to Bonnie Watson Coleman, one of the few people in the House of Representatives that actually stands on business when it comes to reproductive health care, menstrual equity, pro Palestinian causes, and genuinely is anti apartheid and genocide. She's a wonderful woman and she should have never been harmed. But that might be my bias speaking. What's even crazier about this whole incident is that the Congress people and Mayor Baraka are being branded as the aggressors. How are you going to say that a mayor can't come to a facility in his own city and check it out? And then three people that have a right by law to check it out without notice come and you give them a hard time and now they're the aggressors? You're calling them criminals? Weird. No, we're not imagining this. This is dead ass happening. The Trump regime is testing the limits of fascism, and too many are still asking for civility. Too many people are asking, how far can it go? Frankly, it's gone too far. Something else that's been really bugging me and been really difficult as someone who is the child of Haitian immigrants is the escalating deportations and racial violence that we've been seeing. Let's talk immigration. The phrase illegal alien has made its way back in the political zeitgeist. It is making a sickening comeback. Trump is normalizing language that's rooted in white nationalism, and now they're not just targeting undocumented people, they're literally deporting citizens as well. Kilmar Obrego Garcia, a Salvadorian national living in Maryland, was deported to El Salvador despite a court order barring his removal due to the risk of persecution. The Trump administration, however, despite having a judge straight up telling them, don't you dare try to deport this man, they deported him anyway. They claim that he's affiliated with MS-13, which is a gang, but his lawyers and family deny that wholeheartedly. We're seeing an increase in raids. We're seeing TPS statuses threatened and ICE operating unchecked. We are well past the canary in the coal mine. We are past the point of screwed. We are royally fucked if we keep allowing these people to act in this way. We keep allowing these people to strike fear in our hearts. Like, people are breaking the windows of people's cars to get undocumented migrants. Like, it should never get this crazy. It should never be that serious. You might have done something morally wrong by crossing the border to escape political turmoil or economic difficulties or whatever the reason might be. That doesn't automatically make you a child trafficker or a drug dealer or the worst criminal in the world. Some of these people genuinely just wanted an opportunity at a better chance at life. And we know for a fact that having immigrants not only boosts the economy, but ensures that we have rich culture and cultural competency. That's just my opinion. That's just ridiculous that we're still treating people in this manner and people are saying this is what I voted for. Well, frankly, this is not what I voted for. So that was a lot. We need a mental break. Remember how I said I recently moved? Well, my partner and I also have a puppy now. So you guys have met my beautiful cat, Cookie. Picture of Cookie right here. Beautiful. But have you met my beautiful son, Snoopy? We're going to do a little slideshow of the Snoop. And then we'll go into some of the pretty amazing news that's come out thus far in the news and just things that you probably haven't seen any reports on, because good news isn't always profitable. Now for the part where things start to get a little better. I'm glad that I was able to give you a cute little palette cleanser with pictures of Snoopy. Now it's time to get into some other things that can make you feel a little better about the world we live in. Mahmoud Khalil has received a temporary reprieve from deportation, allowing him to remain in the United States while he challenges the government's case against him, which means he won't have to leave his child behind or his family and his wife. It means there's a temporary pause. It doesn't mean that everything's over yet, but things are at least looking good right now. For Muhsin Maldawi, the Columbia student that was arrested during his citizenship test, he has been released. He's been speaking out about his experience, highlighting the injustices faced by pro Palestinian activists. He openly said that he is not afraid of the Trump administration and will continue to speak out publicly about the genocide. Good for him. For the tough student detained for her op ed, she has also been released. Her case was drawn national attention to the suppression of free speech on campuses. Shout out to Ozturk, who was able to make it out of such a tough situation. I wish nothing but the best for her and her family. So people are fighting back, and sometimes they're winning. Now, back in Newark, Mayor Ross Baraka has been released from jail. Yeah, there's a court date ahead, but honestly, this might galvanize his base. If you did not know, the man is running for governor of New Jersey, which is coming up really fast, and I will do a video on. But because people are watching and people genuinely are concerned about fascism, I think the one positive thing that's come out of this is that at least it'll increase some of his polling. So we'll take whatever small wins we can get. At least he wasn't harmed while he was in prison. Or at least I hope he wasn't harmed while he was in prison. He hasn't come out to say that he was. So we will keep updating you on that front. Something else that's been really cool that's been happening that people should really be taking note of is the fact that courts are speaking up. We're seeing a movement in courts where judges are pausing the cancellations of TPS for protections for Venezuelans and Haitians. Basically, temporary protected status is paperwork that Haitians and Venezuelans were given through various times, either due to political turmoil or gang turmoil within their countries. Many people came through the Biden program, which is like a program where they received additional resources and were given access to come to the United States. Trump has since said that he wants to cancel that. So he would make a group of people that are legally in the country suddenly here illegally. And so then he would mass deport them, which is really messed up. So some judges have taken the time to put an end or a pause to that currently. So they're pushing back, not all, but some. And we really appreciate the efforts of judges that have been openly using their power and using the law and justice to fight against tyranny. And I want to take a moment to say shout out to the immigration attorneys, the public defenders, and the judges with a spine. The ones who haven't capitulated, who are using the law as a shield instead of a sword. So yeah, things are bad. They might get worse, but history tells us that usually is when people fight harder. We are not powerless. We are not alone, and we are not done. This has been the At Risk Podcast. I'm your host, Maxilia Desir. Catch you all next time. Hug your pets if you've got them. Water your plants. Go to the gym. Eat healthy. Love yourself. Go to therapy if you have insurance. And take care of yourself. Love you so much and stay risky. Oh, and before you go, if you did not know, we are on Spotify. Check the link below to check out our Spotify and check out some of our mini episodes. So yeah, it was a pleasure. Love you guys. Bye.